But anyway,
Doug doesn't talk about his OnlyFans page at all. It's just feet stuff, though. You don't see
It's really for mustache and feet.
it's gonna say it's his only stash page.
Oh!
Welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast, a virtual firehouse kitchen table with Matt, Adam, Brian, Doug, and Freddie, where they discuss everything that matters in today's fire service. Now let's get to the show.
I got it.
There's only 2 subscribers, me and his uncle. That's it.
I think that's a great way to start the show.
$20 and $20.
So with that, welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast. I'm Brian, and it's going to be a good show. I can already tell by the way we've got this done. If you're not watching us on YouTube or Spotify video, please go and do that. Whatever platform you're on, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Please do, because that lets us know that you love us, because we already know you do because you're listening and we see that, but it would make us know that you love us even more by hitting subscribe. So welcome to our guest, Cody of the Salty Paramedic. Welcome, sir. Glad to have you on. Yeah, so if you're on TikTok, Instagram, you've probably seen some of his funny reels. We're going to get to know who he is and what makes us laugh and why here very soon. But welcome, also Doug and Matt. Good to see you guys again this week. You guys have a good week?
Yes, brother.
Where's Matt?
Yeah. I said Matt. I meant Matt.
Matt is actually. We said this last week. Matt is actually in the bulldozer that you see pushing cars out of the road in California. That's him. He's driving the dozer.
He's fighting wildfires.
Yes. I went through my Rolodex of names, and I said the first one on my head, which was Matt, but Adam's on the show. And so anyway, sorry about that.
See how they treat me, Cody?
Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad to have that. I'm telling you. Old timers, it's bad. So special shout out to our sponsors, Unky's Seasoning. Hey, can I just tell you, I got challenged this week for a firehouse cook at my new job. One of the captains came in and said, hey, I'm challenging you to a 30-minute cook-off. And I'm not going to share what I'm cooking, right? Everybody who listens knows that that's kind of my jam. But he knows that, and so he's asked me for it, and we're going to have some other people guest judge. And I'm going to sidebar with you later, but I've got an idea of something that I can cook. But, of course, you know what it's going to feature?
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
It's going to feature some of our Unky seasoning. So the only teaser I'm going to give is it's got some of that Elizabeth salt in it and some of our buttery rosemary. So 2 of the top sellers. Yeah, no doubt. And a special shout out to our other sponsor, the Burn Box. If you're not subscribed to the monthly subscription box of the Burn Box, you need to do that, as well as FD Collectors Club. Some of the best patches and coins in the industry, featuring some of the most unique fire stations from across the country. Make sure you go online and get some of those as well. So a lot of things have been going haywire all across this country, whether it's cold, wildfire. I mean, think about the paradigms that we're seeing right now. I don't know when this show is going to drop, because we're recording several at one time. But when we're recording this, there's literally wildfires in California and blizzards across the Northeast. And so it's crazy times. And Doug mentioned it on another show that we recorded. If we don't come out with some line of duty deaths out of this, it would be a honest to God miracle. But it's the nature of the work that we do. And so just like we do every single week, we want to stop and pause and remember those that may have passed this week or been injured, or heaven forbid, for those that are suffering with ones that they may have lost at some point. So let's do a moment of silence, guys, for those. Amen. Well said.
Well said.
Well said. All right. Very good. Now that I have flubbed up and I called Adam Matt, and I feel terrible about that. I'm really sorry about that. And before we came on, Cody told me his real name and I called him Corey. So that I'm 2 for 2 right now. That's the way that it is. So I'm winning. # winning. So Cody, tell us a little bit
But
about
I tell you what,
yourself.
you are losing.
What?
You're losing in the mustache game.
I am. I'm the only one on without a killer mustache. And I can't grow it either. Like, I just cannot physically grow one of those killer stashes. But all y'all are like killing it tonight.
I mean, come on. Anyway,
like
back to the lecture at hand.
Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. So, Cody, tell us a little bit about who the Salty Paramedic is and what is the story of how you became who you are, like, and what you do.
All right. So starting off, I was a firehouse brat. My dad retired from the fire department. I grew up around it all my life. I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I started off at the age of 15. My dad helped institute a explorers program at my department. So I did that up until I was 18. And then I volunteered up until I went to college. Got a 4-year degree in fire protection administration. While I was out to college, I met my wife. She was my RA. We got married, left college. I got employed at my full-time department in 2016. Also had my first kid at that time. I've been with that department ever since. I had 2 more kids, so I've got 3 kids. Been married for 11 years now. Been with my department almost 9 years. I had no intention of being a paramedic at all. 1 year into being employed with that department, they're like, hey, we really need paramedics. We'll send you to class for free. Are you interested? At the time, I had been an EMT for 1 month. And I was like, sure, what the hell? Because that raise looked pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So I went. It was about a year long, and I ended up loving it. Rode the ambulance as a frontline paramedic for about 6 to 7 years, and then recently got promoted last year. So now I only ride about 2 to 3 months, 2 to 3 days a month now. But yeah, last year my daughter was born in December. So while I was sitting there in the hospital, I had 6 weeks of paternity leave off work. I was kind of bored. All she did was sleep all the time. So I'd always been the guy that made memes at work, or somebody would text me in the group chat, hey, can you Photoshop this guy doing something?
Yes.
So I'm like, hey, I'm going to start posting these online and see what happens. And for some reason, the Salty Paramedic popped in my head. So I made an account on Instagram, and it's about a year to today. It's around this time that I made the account. I've been online for about a year, and it kind of blew up, man. I think I'm almost to 120,000 followers on Instagram, and TikTok's like 50,000, and it's just wild, and I love it. I started posting. My goal was to make like 5 videos a day. I started just hammering them out, and it's kind of like skyrocketed from there. Like I mentioned earlier, I've got books now. I've got a party game coming out. I'm grinding, and I love it.
I saw the party game the other day. I want to get into that. When the time comes, Brian, I know you got some questions.
Well, yeah, I want to go back to the name, the Salty Paramedic. So if you're a fire-based, and I don't know if this will end up on the recording or not. We had kind of everybody knows that we have a pre-talk that we do, and then somewhere Matt picks it up, and that's where the show starts. But we talked about it, you're in the fire department and you're also a paramedic. So why the name recognition of the Salty Paramedic over like the Salty Fireman or whatever? Like why was it that?
Yeah. I mean, so the Salty Paramedic came from, there was 2 different reasonings behind it. Everybody compares Salty as that experienced guy, which I was just being sarcastic. I'm trying to act like the experienced guy, which I've been in it for 17 years, but I don't know shit. There's still so much to learn, and I learn stuff every day. But that was just sarcastic, that meaning. But the big play on it is salty, like just over it. And a lot of my videos, I act like that person, like I'm just a sarcastic asshole, and
not salty as in, like I've been here
yes.
for 20 years. Like salty, like I'm pissed off. I don't want to fucking be here.
Yes, which in all reality, I'm the complete opposite of that person. That's just a character I play on my videos. I like to think I'm very sympathetic with my patients. I'm, very laid back, but some people might say different. But that's just the character I play, really.
I get
Adam is dying to chime in here. I can tell. Are you leaning into the mic? You got something there?
No.
You're not the salty 17-year guy that's disgruntled.
Salty BLS federal firefighter.
Yeah, I am the pissed off federal firefighter guy. Yeah.
One of my upcoming transfers.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm happy about that. But one of my new seasons going to come out this year. It's called the Salty Fireman, which is hickory smoked salt. It just done very well in the past couple of years, and now I'm bringing it back on full time.
Yeah, that Salty Fireman is.
I just started the order for it.
It is.
I'm going to have to hit you up for that because that's one thing I didn't touch on. Before I got hired on a department, I worked in restaurants all through college.
I love
to cook, so I'll have to try it out, man.
I was going to get to that. I know he's mentioned how much he loves to cook before. I was going to circle back if Brian didn't.
Yep.
No, thank you, because honestly,
Unky, we'll get him a care package, Unky.
Yeah, so that's been one of those things where I follow a lot of it, but I've not seen that your love for cooking, which obviously being a firefighter, that's kind of a go. Well, I won't say a go-to, but most firemen in the firehouse have a love for cooking.
Real quick interjection here. One of my crew guys has been off. Today is early January. It's January the 8th, but he was off from like the middle of December, just before Christmas. He just came back yesterday, and he said, "Man, I'm so glad to be back at work." I said, "Are you kidding me, dude?" He said, "Not because of bullshit." He said, "I need a good meal." He said, "I've been eating out of gas stations for 3 weeks."
Just because he didn't have nothing because it was at the firehouse.
He said, Doug, I need you to cook me something. He said, "I'm tired of eating at the gas station."
Yeah.
I get it.
We used to call those scour dogs, right? The little ones on the roller.
Yeah.
And about 3 hours later, it gave you the scours. So the scour dogs. So I think that's all fantastic. So you kind of segued into my next question of what is your platform truly about? Like, what is it? What is the return on investment for Cody, right? Like, you have a lot on your plate, right? Like, you're a full-time firefighter medic, a growing family. Like, I know the why of what got you into it. We can go around, and we've done it several times. Mine was in the middle of COVID when I couldn't go out. I decided to put a couple of videos of me cooking on TikTok, and they blew up. Doug has a similar story. Adam and Matt, they've all got the same stories. But like, why do you keep doing it? Like, why all that instead of
child support?
Hopefully, I never have to worry about that.
No,
man.
No.
But the big why is the list of messages I get. I cannot tell you how many people over the world, like throughout the world, has sent me messages like telling me how much my videos has helped them, like with their mental health, even.
Yes.
Man, it's just wild. It blows my mind, and that is the reason I keep doing it every day. That's the main reason right there.
Dude,
I love it.
Same for me. Like, I don't care. People clown me at work. People talk shit about who I am. Dude, I don't care, man. I made somebody's day better, and that's all I want to do, man. I just want to make somebody laugh, and in a little moment of brevity, and just that's it, man. Like you said, the messages you get randomly.
Yeah, I don't think you can be an online presence, in the fire service and not get shit at your fire department over it. Like,
yes,
they'll talk shit about me, but at the same time, they're dapping me up behind the scenes. And
conveniently, you follow my account. How about that?
Yeah. So
I appreciate your content because you keep me entertained when I'm on the pooper at the firehouse, man. And I appreciate that.
I always tell people, like, when they see my videos, they're like, "Oh man, Chief, when are you going to make this, that, and the other?" I said, "Oh, you saw that video?" They go, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, it's funny. I didn't see where you liked it. I just need for you to start liking it, right? Because you didn't like you watched it, but you didn't like it because I know you're trolling it, right? So, like you said, in person they're going to talk smack. Behind the scenes, they love it, which is good. And I was telling Adam this morning when we were talking, like, I have a video right now on YouTube. I'm not going to say which one, but I have one on YouTube that it was not my best cook. But it's got a little bit of I don't want to say hate going on, but like I'm catching a lot of flack because the steak I was cooking on the Blackstone did not have the char that I wanted or anybody else. But it's comments, and that is getting more views, and it's getting more engagement. It drives it, so now I'm just playing with people. I'm like, oh, he's like, worst char, straight to jail, and I was like, who's got the handcuffs? Like I'm just messing with people, right? And so my question to you is, I know you said you get a lot of comments like that. Do you find that that's a little bit of like mental health relief for you too? Like it's kind of good for you to make these videos too? I mean, I know it's work, right? It takes time to pick these things up, but is it good for you to do that too?
It is very good for me because if I wasn't doing this, I would be bored out of my mind. A lot of people I work with, at any fire department, they have a trade. Most firefighters have a second job, so they're landscaping or they're woodworking. I don't have any good skills turns out I can make memes, and I made a brand off of it. So if I wasn't doing this, I would be bored out of my mind. I'd be working overtime at work all the time, and I'd just be burnt out. And I'm very thankful for this position I'm in right now, because I found something I'm good at.
And baby needs a new pair of shoes, so it's perfect timing, right?
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
So let's talk about some of those books. Let's talk about the board games. What do they look like? And what are their purpose? Like when people think children's books, there's some videos of you reading. But for those who haven't necessarily watched that, kind of give them a teaser of what those books are and what they're designed for. Yeah,
so I kind of found a way to make kids' books online with AI illustrating, and then I write them. So I said, hey, I'm going to make 5 kids' books, one about a firefighter, EMT, police officer, dispatcher, and a nurse. And I said, I just want to educate kids, because a lot of the books I've read about first responders, like the kids' books my own kids have, they're just not really like educational. So I said, I want to write them myself. So I wrote 5 of them. They seem to be getting a lot of good feedback, but the majority of comments was like, you should write books about the adult versions and make them kind of raunchy, like about how it really is. So I said, okay. Yes. So I did that. So I did one. I've got one firefighter, paramedic, dispatcher, and a cop. And I did them like 18 years and older, and they're illustrated the same way, but they're just telling the story of the kid version as an adult now, and they've now became a firefighter, and they see what the job's really like, and they're burnt out, and they're buying big ass trucks they can't afford, and getting addicted to nicotine. And those are really fun to write, and those have sold more than the kids' books tenfold.
What's the biggest seller? Which one?
So the dispatcher ones actually came from behind. Like it was the paramedic one, but the dispatcher one has went nuts. So yeah.
I like the dispatcher one better.
So
the engine boss at my house, her partner is a dispatcher. So we're gonna make that happen.
So my question is for those that are listening and maybe driving or whatever while they listen. A lot of our folks listen on their commute to the firehouse. Where can they go to get it? I mean, I know we'll put it in the show notes, but like where can they go to buy this?
So if you just search the Salty Paramedic on Amazon, they'll all pop up. They're all available on Amazon. That's the only place I have them to buy them right now.
Perfect. Got
that Prime shipping, free shipping if you got Prime. It's a good deal.
I love it. So what about this board game? Oh, go ahead.
Wait. Before we leave the book conversation, the episode before this, we talked about mental health. Don't Lose Yourself book.
Yes.
I saw that right before the show. Do you mind telling us about that?
That's my baby. I've had that in the back of my head for years. I'm hoping to have it out by next month, but it's essentially a book that I call it a mental health playbook, and I've got each chapter is just a play or an action that I live by in my life to help control my mental health and maintain good mental health while working, as a full-time paramedic, married with 3 kids, just navigating it all. And I feel like it's helped me. And my dad, I talked about him earlier, he was in the fire department. He was a big part in that, just having that role model and seeing, how well he treated his kids and his wife while he was also in that type of job. So that's, like I said, I'm hoping to have it out next month, but I got the cover and all that designed right now. I just had to do a little fine tuning on it, but I'm very excited about that book more than anything else I've ever done. And I'm hoping it can make the difference that I'm writing it, that it's intended for. So we'll see, but it seems to have a lot of hype behind it. I got a lot of people messaging me saying they can't wait to read it. So I'm hoping it turns out to be as good as I hope.
I'm excited about that one.
Yep.
I think it's cool.
If you make one person smile, we succeeded.
Yeah, that's what's up. So I heard you, Doug. I got that one wrong. So that's 3 for 3 tonight. Not a board game. Tell me about the game. I'm just going to say, tell me about the game, and then you can correct me since I'm just going to stop. Go ahead.
So it's just a card game. It's another idea I had. The name Limp Hoses came into my head, and I'm making a card game called Limp Hoses, and it's essentially 100 cards, And you just, when you're hanging out with whoever, it's meant for first responders, but I feel like their family members can relate to. You take turns drawing a card. Each card has something funny on it that you either do or you can act out or something to deal with public service. And then it'll either say, if you do this, you can pick somebody to take a shot or pick somebody to take a drink or something like that. And I just think it'd be something fun to have at those golf outings or something, you and the boys, and y'all can just take turns drawing cards and drinking and all that. But that actually is supposed to be out next week, I believe. So I did that, and then I've got 5 expansion packs for nurses, dispatchers, everything. I've got those planned as well.
That's what I want to make sure. Like, make sure we know about the expansion packs for the nurses, the dispatchers, the cops. Oh,
yes.
I love it.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. And all this has happened within a year. This was, wow, that's impressive. That is a lot of commitment to the brand, the Salty Paramedic, and everything that's going. So kind of the last question that I wanted to ask, and then I'm going to turn it over to these guys if they have any questions. And I saw Adam with his pen, so I knew he had some.
He's got the clicker going.
He got his clicker going. Where do you see the brand going? Like, if you can, like, what are you willing to share of what you envision doing? Obviously growing viewers and engagement and things like that, but how do you envision doing that? Do you see yourself speaking engagements? Do you see yourself, what is that? What does it look like?
So something other than what I'm doing right now. Like you said, I want to grow. I want to help more people. The book, the mental health book I'm writing right now, I would love to be able to do speaking engagements, just talking on that book and just really nailing the points that, I wrote in the book, being able to talk around certain places. That's one dream of mine, I guess. But other than that, I just want to keep, inventing things. I've got the games, the books. I just want to keep building on this brand and making a difference at the end of the day. People ask me all the time at work, when you get real big, are you going to leave here? No, I'm going to stay there and I'm going to retire. I'm just going to keep doing this. It's nice to be on that 24, 48-hour schedule because I got 48 hours to, sit home and work on this. So at the end of the day.
But that pension's nice,
You talking about Doug's groaning about the schedule, right? The 24-48. That's a whole nother conversation about that.
My department's talking about changing it. There's been talks.
We are not. But, yeah, you're right, Brian. The pension guys, a buddy of mine, you talked earlier, Cody, about the side job thing. A buddy of mine has a power washing business. I worked for him for 5 or 6 years, helping him out on the side. He makes 5-6 times his salary doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And has since he started. But why give up his pension? He's like 12 years invested. He's like 12, 13 years invested at this point. He's had discussions with his wife about leaving, but he was like, why would I do that? Like, I have good pension, I have insurance,
absolutely.
I'll just go to my part-time job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was gonna say I knew more firemen back in the day who, like you said, made 5-6 times what they did at the city. But it was about the end goal, right? It was when their knees really gave out after they were done laying flooring, or when their shoulder messed up because they were tired of slinging weed eaters after cutting grass and stuff. That was their medical. And it's not that they couldn't do it, right? Like, the firefighting gig was the easy part, right? They knew that they had to supplement the income, but it was something that was guaranteed. That income was always guaranteed too, because if those jobs ever dried up, it was always that subconscious fear, right, of that trade work that was like, man, if this work ever dries up, I've always got a job.
Right.
I've always got this to fall back on. I always have that safety net, right? Like, I will take care of things. And not to sidetrack this, but in my community, the trade firefighter is not like it used to be. We find firefighters that are being firefighters somewhere else, and that mental health piece that you talked about, to bring that back, Cody, that's the reason why I think it's so important for us to talk about that, because not only are the firefighters that are working the 24-48s getting more calls exposed to, they're also then going and working additional off shifts somewhere else, part-time at these other firehouses, and just the amount of sheer exposure, burnout's real, and it's going to happen. And so it's just I don't want to say an unfair exposure, but it's all the more reason for folks like you to give us that mental health funny laugh, to make light of it, of the I don't want to say the tragedy, but of the tragedy that's there.
The negativity, yeah.
Well, the realness of the job, right? Like, we can put a spin on it, and it's. I made a comment. You know, the agency should never highlight the worst day of somebody's life. However, we have to have the outlet to share and kind of pressure relief those bad things that have occurred in our life. So, Adam, what you got as we kind of finish up?
Okay, really just two things. One, because I asked all the guys when we started hanging out, what is your wife's job? I'll see if you're stereotypical.
All right.
Firefighter.
So my wife, she used to be a dog groomer,
Okay.
and then COVID hit, and we had multiple kids, and now she's a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
Good for you.
Yep.
Yes. But I was just curious. What are they normally? School
What are you gonna
teachers?
say, nurse?
Of course, nurses.
Nurses.
Of course, you know.
Let me tell you, she went to college her first year for nursing, and she didn't like it. And that was when I met her, and I told her, I said, change your degree. You know, if you don't like it, don't do it. So
Yeah.
Maybe that's why first attraction. Ugh, she's gonna be a nurse, and then then she wised up. Okay. I know you're doing video game streaming. You know, I can watch you play video games. Now, I sent the guys a lot of people playing these lives. Do you play that firefighter game that's all over TikTok? Are you one of those guys?
There was one I played before. I can't remember the name of it. It was because so many people were recommending it, and I think I played it for like 2 days, and that was it. I don't know. It just wasn't for me.
Oh man, watching these guys drive the trucks across. You know, it's like Grand Theft Auto, and they're driving it, and I was like, "That's all it is. This is Grand Theft Auto." Then they actually like get out, get hosed. They're sitting there talking like you're ripped, and this I'm like, wow.
Yeah, the second day I was streaming
For a federal guy, that must be really cool to be a firefighter, like on a game, right?
No, I know. Now I play the game Emergency on my phone. I played that when that was on the PC and stuff years ago.
I mean, we know those Fed guys don't get to fight fire, so yeah, you.
No, we're insurance policy.
I
We're
hear you.
insurance policy, bud.
I got you, boo. I got you.
Elon's going to get rid of us. So, what video games do you play?
A little bit of everything, really. You talked about Grand Theft Auto. I actually started playing that, but I don't do much of the video games live streaming right now. It's nice. I enjoy playing it, but most of the time I'm doing something else. I'm promoting my books or game now or something else. You know.
I thought it was pretty cool the other night on TikTok. You were live, and you were showcasing different fire stations in the comments. So let me rate your fire stations. I thought that was pretty cool.
I didn't. I forgot to talk about that. So I think I was on the toilet when I came up with the idea. Imagine that.
The best ideas.
And
Okay, can relate.
I was like, I'm going to pull up Google Maps and just tell people I'll rate their fire stations. And man, the first few weeks I did, I had hundreds of people in there. It was blowing up. And now, you know, I'll get lucky to get like 100 people. But I'll even have people message me, when are you going to start ranking fire stations again? And it's pretty fun. I mean, going around seeing different fire stations.
Yeah.
But it was just something different, something that popped in my head. And I enjoyed it.
I loved it the other night.
We did too.
The other night when I was on, when we were talking about the show, and one guy, he gave you the station, and you went to it, and he was like, that's not it. And he was like, go left. And you were like, man, there's nothing here. And then he's like, more left. And you were like, dude, are you trolling me? And then you found it. But I was like, man. And like, I was sucked in. Like, I wanted to wait and see this. So from an engagement perspective, for us that have social media accounts, that's genius, guy. Like, that is like, it's a way to boost the algorithm, right? You got to have people commenting and engaging and liking and things. And it seems crazy, but like on certain platforms, when you go live and you have engagements, your other videos get boosted. And by doing that, you have more opportunities to get follows, which is, it sounds kind of crazy, but like it's that little bit of return on investment of time, which really makes it beneficial. So that's cool. I mean, there's a science to it, right? Like, and all of that stuff. So that's pretty cool. Doug, did you have any questions for him before we close out the show?
No, you've mashed it. All I wanted to talk about was the card game. I'm really excited about that. So it's the way I read it. It's based off like a Cards versus Humanity kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of. So I don't know if y'all follow the worst responders. I've been following them for years, man. They're one of the guys that got me started into it. But I think they have Cards Against Humanity version, so I didn't want to copy them. So mine's more of like a do or drink. I don't know if you've ever played that one.
Yeah,
mine's kind of styled like that.
But you're spot on for guys. A lot of us play golf, not well, but we go out and play golf together, and it's all more about going out and having a good time with you guys and drinking beer, So yeah, it's perfect for that.
Yep.
I love it. So, Cody, as we wrap up, tell us, how can folks find you? What platforms are you on? Obviously, the majority of them, but share those, and then any kind of closing thoughts that you may have.
So I'm active on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Y'all can find me on there. If you click the link in any of my bios, you can find my books. Like I said, my card game should be out next week, hopefully. And then my Don't Lose Yourself mental health book should be out next month. So just stay tuned for that. Just closing thoughts. Anybody that's listening right now that enjoys my videos, thank you. I appreciate all the messages. I tell everybody on every podcast, if y'all are listening right now and have a question or just want to talk to me about a run, feel free to send me a message. I read all my messages, believe it or not. So my inbox is always open. That's what I'm here for. So I appreciate you guys for your time. I appreciate everybody for listening.
That's what it's about, man. The humility and just being there for each other. You need something, man, shoot me a message. That's we've always said that. All of our inboxes are always open.
Yeah.
Man, that's what it's all about. Just reaching to people and just being a good person. Don't be a dirtbag.
Yes. Don't be a dirtbag. I love it. What a good show. So, as we do with all guests, we let our guest take us out. So, Cody, send us out, buddy.
Roll it, GG.
Roll it, GG.
Before you leave, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give these firemen a huge thumbs up. Also, make sure you check out thecoolfireman.com for more. Thanks!